You ever have one of those weeks? You know the ones, where it feels like you're just constantly fighting a losing battle against, well, chaos. You work so hard to keep everything together, but life just seems to find a way to get messier. Well, in this explainer, we're going to dig into why that happens. And the answer, you might be surprised to hear, isn't in psychology. It's actually in a fundamental law of physics.
Does this sound familiar? I bet it does. It's a feeling pretty much all of us can relate to. You spend your whole Sunday organizing the house, and by Wednesday, it looks like a tornado tore through it. Or you finally get your email inbox down to zero, and just a few hours later, it's totally overflowing again. It's this relentless, exhausting cycle that can really make you feel like you're just failing.
And you know, this feeling actually has a name: productivity dysmorphia. It's that nagging voice in the back of your head, the one that tells you you're not doing enough, that you're falling behind, even when, objectively, you're being super productive. It's this vulnerability that makes us pin all the blame for the chaos squarely on ourselves.
But here's the big question we're going to tackle. What if this constant slide into disorder isn't a personal failure at all? What if it has absolutely nothing to do with your character, your work ethic, or how much willpower you have?
The real reason for all that chaos in your life, it isn't some flaw inside of you. Nope, it's actually a fundamental law of the entire universe. It really is, like the title says, it's not you, it's physics.
That's right, I'm serious. That constant battle you fight against a messy desk, a cluttered home, a chaotic schedule, it's actually a battle against a core principle of reality itself. We're talking about a force as fundamental as gravity.
And that law is called entropy. You might have heard of it. It's the second law of thermodynamics. And basically what it says is that any system left to its own devices will always move toward more disorder over time. Now, yeah, our lives aren't technically isolated systems, but they are totally governed by the same universal trend. The universe naturally moves toward chaos, not toward order. Things just don't stay neat on their own. They naturally fall apart. That's the default set.
Okay, I know, entropy can sound a little academic and intimidating, but it's a concept you see in action every single minute of your life. So let's break it down and make it really simple with a quick lesson in chaos.
So on one side, you've got low entropy. Just think of that as order, structure, predictability. It's like a brand new deck of cards, perfectly sorted by suit and number. Beautiful, right? Then on the other side, you've got high entropy. That's disorder, randomness, total chaos. It's that same deck of cards after you've shuffled it a few times.
And we see this play out everywhere. A tidy room is a state of low entropy. But without any effort, what happens? It'll always drift toward becoming a messy room, a state of high entropy. Building a sandcastle creates order, but the wind, the waves, gravity, they're all working together to return it to its natural state, just a random pile of sand.
And this brings us to the single most important takeaway from all of this. Ready? The universe wants to be a collapsed sandpile. It prefers chaos. So to fight this natural tendency to create and maintain any kind of order at all, it requires a constant active input of energy.
Okay, so if we accept that fighting chaos requires a ton of energy, how can we apply this cosmic law to our own lives without totally burning out? Well, that brings us to a simple but really powerful framework we're calling the energy input rule.
And here it is. This is where it all clicks together. Your life, your relationships, your job, your health, your home, all of it is a system. And just like every other system in the universe, it's subject to the law of entropy. Without you constantly and consciously putting energy in, it will naturally always drift toward disorder. This isn't a sign that you're failing, it's a sign that you're a part of the universe.
So the bottom line is this: you cannot win the war against chaos. It's literally baked into the fabric of reality. Trying to achieve some perfect, permanent state of order in every single part of your life is just a recipe for exhaustion and disappointment. The smarter strategy is to change the goal. Stop trying to defeat chaos and instead get really strategic about where you decide to use your limited energy.
So here's how it works. It's just 3 simple steps. First, acknowledge entropy. Just accepting that chaos is the default state, man, that can be so freeing. It's not your fault. Second, choose your order. You don't have enough energy to keep everything perfect. Nobody does. So what truly matters to you? Pick the 1 or 2 areas, maybe it's a huge project at work or your family life, where order gives you the most value. And third, inject focused energy. Be intentional. Direct your effort to maintaining order only in those areas you chose. And, this is crucial, give yourself permission to let other things be a little messy. It's okay.
Adopting this mindset is honestly transformative. It helps reduce burnout because you're no longer fighting an unwinnable battle against the entire universe. It helps shut down that feeling of productivity dysmorphia because now you understand the real forces at play. It validates your daily struggle, and maybe most importantly, it lets you replace all that self-blame with something way more powerful and sustainable: self-compassion.
So I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. The universe is always going to lean toward disorder. So maybe our goal shouldn't be to achieve some perfect static state of order that can't really last. What if, instead, the real secret to a well-lived life is learning how to gracefully, strategically, and even joyfully dance with the inevitable chaos?